Hi Cancer, this is your astrological prognosis for October 2012, and we're going to be talking this time about a much bigger period of your life. Actually, we're gonna look into the picture for 2.5 years ahead. So get ready, it's very interesting what I have to tell for you this month. And please check your ascendant sign prognosis if you know the time of your birth. And in case you don't know your ascendant sign, you can go to my website. There is a straight connection under this video to the birth chart calculator in my website astrolada.com, where you can see what your ascendant sign degrees exactly, and you can calculate it once the birth chart calculator calculates it. Check the video for the ascendant sign because it's very much appropriate. So what does October hold for you Cancers, especially Cancer ascendant? Well, the big event of October 2012 is that Saturn is moving into your fifth house. And till now it was in your fourth house for the past 2.5 years. So there'll be a big shift in consciousness and focus of your life. And I'm not saying that from the 1st of October, that's it, all of a sudden your whole life changes and you're interested in completely different things. It will be a gradual process. For some of you, it will start happening from the very beginning of this process, from October. From others, will start happening towards the end of those 2.5 year period. But overall, the whole period will be slowly, the attention is shifting where Saturn is shifting, because Saturn, as I keep saying in all the videos, is the big hand of the clock, of the cosmic clock. So wherever it moves in the house, this is where the attention goes, and that's where you're demanded to be more self-disciplined. That's where the tests will be happening in your life. And if you've been having some destructive or unhealthy patterns of behavior in that area of your life, they will be brought to the surface through testing you more and through actually so you can learn these lessons. So Saturn is the hard taskmaster, but it's the best taskmaster, because usually most of us learn only when we're being pushed, no one gets inspired in the morning and saying, very few people are those who are inspired and saying, I'm going to change my life today. I'm going to eat only vegetables and fruits, and I'm so excited about that. You have to be taught, you have Cancer, you have to eat only vegetables and fruit or something like. I'm not saying this is going to happen for you, but Saturn is the one that motivates us because of things, because of difficulties, because of showing us where things are not going wrong. So if you've been doing something wrong till now in that area of your life, Saturn will show you how you've been making mistakes. And Saturn is passing into your fifth house, Cancer. And fifth house is the house of self-esteem and your true individuality. So it's quite interesting because Saturn actually, wherever it passes, it usually suppresses or it brings problems with that area of life initially. And some of you might feel it from October, others might feel it later on into this 2.5 period, I keep repeating. But Saturn, what does is that I've noticed passing the fifth house first, there can be a blow to your self-esteem. And I'm not saying it's going to happen in October, but it can happen, starting soon, after October. First, there can be a blow to your self-esteem. Often this can happen maybe through some problem in career or through some, to some devaluing of your abilities, or usually it happens through romance, because fifth house rules romance. And the thing that validates our ego the most and individuality is when others like us and put us on a pedestal and they are romantically attracted to us. Fifth house is the house of the celebrity. So, Saturn wants to test this ego within yourself that is making you think, the inner celebrity within yourself. Actually, it wants to ground your individuality and your self-esteem on a much more stable ground rather than on what it's based till now. And if you've based it, for instance, just on your name and your career, or if you've based your self-esteem and self-love on the fact that you have a very pretty girlfriend that loves you, that you get a lot of attraction, a lot of attention from guys, these are usually the things that make us have a higher self-esteem. And Saturn can bring a blow to those first, so you can reevaluate better, so you can, it's like it hurts you and you're starting to think, wow, if my self-esteem is based on something so flimsy, so unreal, well, maybe I should find the more grounded self-individuality and love, that I shouldn't gain all my strength from the fact that I have this job or from the fact that this person is in love with me, or from the fact that so many people like me, or whatever, because all these things are not, all these things are ephemeral, or they're transitory. And when Saturn passes there, it will test your self-esteem and what it is built on. So you can stay with your true individuality. This is the big purpose of Saturn. The fifth house is your own true creative inner child. And Saturn wants to reveal this, but it does it in the hard way, as I said. It always does it by testing you, pushing your buttons, Well, if it's Jupiter passing there, Jupiter inspires you to express your inner child and who you truly are. When Saturn passes there, you are forced to do it, because you see that till now it didn't work well. Whatever you've been doing is just not valid all of a sudden. Start breaking down. Whatever was giving you self-esteem, whatever was making you feel like, I'm this individuality and this is so special. Whatever was making you feel special. Fifth house is the house of feeling special, of feeling unique. And this is what we might bear a blow to. So we can develop something even more grounded and realistic about what makes us special. And Saturn makes us, fifth house is the house also of creativity, because of course what we create is what makes us most special. And Saturn makes you put a much more focus in that area of your life, and you will be doing it within the next 2.5 years. And actually creative projects might turn into creative projects like hobbies and something you're good at, hobbies, or entertainment and skills that you have. It can turn into something more like a work, because Saturn rules career. Saturn works hard work, so you can turn some hobby or some creative skill of yours into a career, or into something more practical and into your work, as I said. And you can take it much more seriously, your career. You can take your much more serious, not your career, your creative interests. You can put a lot more effort than other times. But also Saturn has a bit of a restricting influence, so for some people initially it can feel as if the inspiration has been sapped away. And usually when our inspiration is sapped away, also our feeling of specialness diminishes. And Saturn always diminishes and tests something, And that's why I've often seen, especially the first year and a half of this transit, Saturn decreasing those creative impulses, decreasing this feeling of specialness, so you can find it in something more real and more grounded. And because Saturn is romance, often romance while Saturn is transiting the fifth house can be diminished somehow, or there can be some obstacles there, or the person becomes much more cautious to do with romance. Fifth house is sex as well, sex for fun. Sex for enjoyment, and this can decrease also to some extent the sex drive, because fifth house is the creative power within yourself, and the sexual power is the creative power. So Saturn in the fifth house decreases those impulses within yourself, and you can don't freak if you start thinking that you're losing your mojo or your sense of adventure and specialness and desire for romance, or even if you want it, Saturn suppresses it from outside somehow. Saturn does it for a reason, as I said, so you can develop more unique specialness, or more grounded, more solid specialness, feeling of specialness within yourself. Love romances are still possible, but they'll be more difficult, and also they're possible to be with the people who are more mature or somehow more Saturnian, like older, or with age difference, or somehow romances which are not so much fun, but they're more hard work. Saturn is always hard work. And I'm not saying that's it, your love life will be totally dry, you're doomed for 2.5 years. Not at all, because at the same time, the North Node will be in your fifth house for 1.5 years only, not throughout the whole duration of Saturn, but just for 1.5 years, starting from September now, for 1.5 years ahead. And whatever the North Node passes, it develops that area better. So basically, Saturn will give a blow to some of the things that make you feel unique and special, and we'll cut those and we'll limit them, but the North Node would give you new creative impulses, or new inspirations, or new hobbies in life, or anything, or creative intelligence which will make you feel special in a better way. So the North Node will help you develop new ones. The Saturn will restrict the old ones that are no longer valid, and the North Node passage in the fifth house for the next 1.5 years will help you develop new such. So you might find yourself within the next 1.5 years developing new creative interests that you never expected that you had, new talents, new artistic talents even. It's the fifth house is the house of entertainment, and feeling new empowerment from those, something that talents and creative expressions you never expected. Uh, Also, funds and hobbies, ways to enjoy yourself. This is the fifth house. You can, North Node passing there, you develop new ways of enjoying yourself. And Interestingly, fifth house also rules children because they're our creative, they're the results of our creative juices and of our creativity, which rules fifth house. And North Node there can introduce a new child into your life, can increase the desire for having a new child actually, and within the next 1.5 years. And the North Node can also as I said, it increases creativity. As we said, it doesn't increase it. It brings new ways of creativity because Saturn somehow is still restricting, getting rid of the old things that are no longer necessary. And the North Node is bringing new sense of specialness and uniqueness through new creative endeavors. And I think that's the interesting thing, it's Saturn is no longer aspecting your sign, Cancer. It's been doing it for the past 2.5 years, so Saturn transits were much harsher for a lot of Cancers, were tested in the past 2.5 years. But for when it goes now into Scorpio in your fifth house, it's actually not going to be affecting you directly, to be affecting the Sun or the Ascendant through a harsh aspect. So the lessons of Saturn are much easier. And of course, if something very stressful is happening, always check the moon sign or the sun sign as well. But for now, yes, I wanted to pay you attention about the next 2.5 years, where Saturn influences and what it demands from you, and how it demands a more stable self-esteem and more unique to discover your individuality, who you truly are, your real creative potential, your true creative potential, and get and lose this one which is no longer validating for who you truly are. So you will be developing a new kind of specialness and uniqueness in your life within the next 2.5 years. But sometimes, as I said, Saturn can test it normally by bringing tests exactly to those areas of your life. Well, thank you very much, and I hope to see you next month.